We are live and direct from the internets with an S, not Twitter, where the servers are going down and they're on fire. We're on YouTube where they have the monkey fixing it when it goes bad. I think every once in a while. I haven't seen that in a long. Have you seen that in a while? It's been a while since I've seen the little like monkey with the wrench that says we're working on stuff. Do you remember that one? The
Yeah.
YouTube one. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. Who do we have in the chat? I want to give a shout out to all of my Team Airrick members. Kata's in the house. Okay, new member. Thank you so much for the support, Kata. Make sure you check out the Team Airrick exclusive playlist. Everything is there because YouTube doesn't do a good job of, unless they've added some feature, a good job of allocating that for everyone. Hey, Amethyst. Hey, Victor. Hey, Flash Freak. Hey, Gwendolyn. Cal's in the building. We have Robert Blake, aka Darth Bunyan. All right. Victor is here. Let's see. Laura's here. Cody's here. So welcome everyone, and anyone who is watching right now. This is I'm going to actually type this in the top here. Members only chat, or you can super chat to ask questions. And I'm going to pin that to the top. Just because. There we go. And I think I have a banner for this too. Yeah, right here. There we go. Already good to go. What can I say? All right, let me introduce the guest on the stream here for our Black Panther Wakanda Forever spoiler review. I was going to do this as a recorded video, but we didn't get a chance to do it. And then I had this members only stream, and then it was going to be at Twitch. And I asked Andy to join me on Twitch, and then it all just kind of it turned into this. So this is what we have. This is my monthly members only chat. So I'm joined by Geek Drums Lance. Hadn't been able to chat with him in a bit. Well, over on his channel, but in other channels. We've been everywhere this week, haven't we? I feel like I've been on like so many live streams, and Andy's also been on a lot of live streams this week. So it's been like crossing over.
Yeah, the Ben one was not planned. He actually asked me like last minute. I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Ben never asked me, but I'll leave that alone. I won't cry.
So it's been quite a week. I think we also had Flash Freak did a stream on Twitch and it got trolled pretty hard. And
nice. Oh no, what happened?
I don't want to talk about what happened because there was some stuff on that stream. Anyway, I couldn't get my mic to work on my computer, so I had to go live on my phone, and then I was eating in my kitchen.
What were you eating?
Doritos, Fruit Loops, anything is just walking around the kitchen.
I love how when you said like I ate food in my kitchen as if like that's a weird thing. Like no, people usually do. And then I ate food in my kitchen.
There's a couple of people that were also going to join us tonight, but I know some people haven't seen the movie yet. So anyone that I know hadn't seen it. I was like, we'll get to it when we get there because the movie is going into its second weekend. And there's been a narrative, and I can't wait to talk about this if we get into this. But here's where we at right now. Keep in mind, this movie has not been out that long, and it's actually beating the records of the first film right now on Box Office Mojo. You look at the numbers. This movie is tracking to be huge. By the way, just based on what we're seeing. So the movie, as of today, is if you went and saw it like the day before, as of today, it's been out for a week. In a week's time, it's already made $400 million in 1 week. They're projecting another 175 to 200 million this weekend. And then next weekend is a holiday. They're projecting another big weekend. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I think this movie is probably going to get shy of 1 billion by the end of next weekend. Does that sound accurate to you guys, or are you being a little more conservative in your projections for this film?
That's definitely accurate. That's my thinking. I already know families are going to come together. You got people coming in from out of town. This was the perfect time to release this film.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's gonna do gangbusters.
Yeah, Andy, because it's not coming out in China, do you think it's going to reach $1 billion without the help of China, or do you think it needs China for that $1 billion?
No, I think a lot of people, I mean, it's sadly for the wrong reasons, I think, but I think, understandable reasons, but also wrong reasons. I think a lot of people are going to want to see this film because of Chadwick's tragic passing. I think a lot of people are going to go see it just to see like how do they deal with the situation and so on. But I also think there's going to be a lot of unity with people wanting to go see this, again during the holidays, and also like Marvel movies are always doing well. So I think if it doesn't get to exactly 1 billion, it will at least get close to it, like maybe 800-900. I think definitely like one of the most profitable films of Phase 4.
Yeah, so Cal saying it could make a billion. I feel like it's got everything it needs to make a billion. It just comes down to like how good that third weekend is, which is a holiday weekend. Now I'm thinking that third weekend is going to be really strong because it's not up against anything like Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and it is a holiday weekend, meaning that families are going to be together, and they may very well choose while they're together on the weekend to go out and see this movie if they haven't already seen it, or see it a second time with family members. I'm hearing people are seeing this movie 2 and 3 times. I've already seen it twice myself. So, but we're going to talk spoilers. We're 6 minutes in. So this is the warning. We've done with the numbers now. You guys know what we think about the movie. We've all talked about it without spoilers. It is time to dive into the movie and talk about some of the big spoilers in this film. I know a lot of this has already been on the internet already, but I still wanted to do my due diligence and give people the opportunity to step away. Because this movie does a few things that not only sets up storylines outside of Black Panther's franchise, but actually sets up the future of what Black Panther can be if it decides to go beyond that 3 movie mark, which we've seen with Thor. They're doing that. They're doing it with Captain America. It's very possible they could do it with Black Panther. There's plans for Spider-Man to go on beyond 3 movies. So I think it's come to the point with Marvel where 3 movies isn't necessarily the end. Like you could do more than that. If they see value in that, or if they, it's a good thing, I guess, James Gunn decided to wrap up Guardians of the Galaxy because his hands are going to be tied after this film. Yep. He's not going to be able to do anything for Marvel for years, unfortunately. All right. So first thing is let's talk about the whole Shuri storyline, because we can do that from start to finish, and then we'll jump around a little bit. So it was theorized way before this movie came out that Shuri was going to pick up the mantle because of the story from the comics, and because a lot of people said it made the most sense. There were other names thrown around like Okoye, Nakia. They all kind of said they could be the next Black Panther. Even with all the drama surrounding, the actress and Letitia,
and her injury and everything too.
Yeah, there's also So the injury thing, I think, I do believe that some of the stuff was overblown in terms of like how she was holding up filming. I think the injury was a lot more serious. After you see the scene where the chase happened, it becomes a lot more obvious that the injury was probably a lot more serious than we thought it was. And so I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt on that one. But Shuri's story was very emotional. And I have to tell you, when we sat down at the beginning and the opening just popped in to them trying to save T'Challa's life off screen, just, not explaining what's going on, just trying to save him. The theater I was in was silent. It was deathly silent. Like nobody was making any noise. And we had kids in the theater. Silent. Everyone was engaged. And I thought it was one of the most emotional intros to a Marvel film that we have ever had. What are your thoughts on this kickoff into Shuri's story? Do you think this was the right direction? Would you have liked to see more details about T'Challa? Or do you think they did a good thing by just having it happen off screen and just the cold opening into that?
Well, like you said, this was one of the best cold opens that we have had in a Marvel project for quite some time. That might be a hot take, but like you said, I can imagine every theater in America across the world was dead silent at the beginning of this film, because the way I seen it is, and like the family signed off on it and everything, this was our way of, okay, he suffered in silence for so long that the smartest person, his little sister, the smartest person in Wakanda, couldn't even figure out how to fix him.
Right.
And it was the real life emotion added into the story emotion, if I could say it like that, that it drew you in. And I know I was sitting there, I started crying because I'm like, whoa. Like I knew we were gonna do this, but
They didn't wait.
I
They gave
didn't
it to you
expect
right at
it.
the beginning. They
They
yeah.
got it out the way.
Yeah. What about you, Andy? How are you feeling with this intro? Did it hit you like it hit, Lance and myself, or did you take something else away from it?
No, I mean it was definitely like, I mean it didn't take long for me to start sobbing throughout the whole thing, like, and that opening scene, like it's there's two ways to look at it for me. One is the idea that I'm glad that we kind of just we got we kicked it off immediately. I was very nervous, like if they were actually going to show, like, because the thing was I didn't know how he was going to pass away necessarily. So I remember just feeling like, are we going to see, like, is he fighting against the villain? Are we going to see like a stunt double just in the suit or something like that?
That's what I thought. I had assumed that we would see a stunt double in the suit.
Yeah.
But they didn't even do that. They went with like, we're not even going to show him to you. You're just
which I can respect that, because I think that would trigger a lot of people. Also feel like it would feel like this is the last time we see Black Panther, the child alive, and it's not even Chadwick in the suit. So, very powerful cold opening. But there's a part of me that feels a certain way about the fact that we lost Chadwick to a disease.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's he lost against colon cancer, and then now we also had T'Challa die from a loss. Like he was defeated too by sickness that they don't even mention.
Right.
Which I feel like if we're gonna lose T'Challa, and here's the thing, it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't, because it's like, because if Namor had been the one that had killed him, I mean, how would anyone like this character going forward? But like, no matter what character they had picked that he was battling against, there would be people who be like, but that character is not strong enough to kill Black Panther or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, like, I don't like the idea of fictionalizing Chadwick's actual death, where it's like, okay, so you made him lose to sickness twice now. But if this is something the family was okay with and so on, like, because at the end of the day, we're fans. We are with no relation to Chadwick other than just watching his content, being admirers of him. So if his family was okay with it, I guess I can be okay with it too. So, but it's definitely one of those things that, like, really big band-aid to rip off so fast and intense at the beginning of the film.
So I want to say that I think one thing I did appreciate about that intro was they wanted us to feel, they immediately wanted us to be in Shuri's shoes, because she was in there scrambling to save him and she lost him without being there next to him. And I think that Ryan's intention in that scene was to make us feel, to immediately identify with Shuri from the very first scene, losing him and not being next to him when that happened, and how that would affect you, in your real life. So I think that was an artistic choice from him. But I also see what you're saying, Andy, and any character that would have actually killed T'Challa or Black Panther on screen would forever be irredeemable in the eyes of the fans. And it would almost be something I don't think an actor would want to take on. You know what I mean? Like, as an actor, would I want to be the actor that was cast to kill a beloved character like this, like somebody that died in real life? So I think it was very smart for them to do that. And then we also have Shuri going through the entire film, well, most of the first act, just kind of scrambling. She's doing stuff that she thinks is right. She still doesn't believe in the mystical realm. She's using science. She still feels like that's the best way to go. Of course, her mother, Queen Ramonda, wants her to believe in that her brother is still there with her. And this is kind of a mother-daughter storyline for the first, I would say, maybe 45 minutes of the movie. It really is about the two of them sort of bonding and giving Angela Bassett the material to just, like I said, I felt like she was such a force in this film, right? I mean, you talk about this, you guys. Like I feel like Angela Bassett just crushed this role in this film.
Oscar.
She deserves an Oscar for this role, for this portrayal in general, for this movie in general. She was a force the entire time she was on screen. Her opening montage when they were you know, when she was talking to the different world leaders,
Hmm.
I felt every word.
Right.
Like she was in that moment. Like she had a bigger thing to do because no John Connie, no Chadwick Boseman. It's
Right.
on you, and she took that on. Like
Right.
she killed it.
Yeah, Andy, what did you think about? Well, not only did she have the speech in front of the world, but she also had the one where she was speaking to Okoye, and where the mission was failed, and she had to remove her rank from the Dora Milaje. So,
All I'll say is when she brought up the whole thing about her Koye side with Killmonger, I said, you know what? I I can't defend you on that one, Koye.
yeah.
But she got you. She got you there.
Oh yeah, about which side they chose. Yeah.
Yeah, Wakanda
But
receipts not be kidding.
because Okoye gives this strong, passionate speech where she's like, I gave up so much to be where I am. And then Angela Bassett, Queen Ramonda, comes in and says she's given up everything for Wakanda. And that goes as far to her actually giving up her life as well in this film, which it was like a 1-2 gut punch between the intro and then this happening with her. And Andy, like I was saying, the speech, I think this is a speech that's going to be remembered forever in the MCU because it's one of those things where I think it was just so powerful. Were you moved by this as well? Did you feel the emotion that she was giving us?
I was moved by everything she did in this film. I had some friends who had seen the film in advance, and they were just like, everyone is like, we're all in agreement that like this needs to be not just an Oscar for, but like in Best Actress, not that like this is not a supporting. This is a Best Actress nomination. But yeah, she really had to be like the parent figure of this entire film, not just for Shuri and T'Challa, because all of us are, we're grieving the loss too in a lot of ways. So that scene when she and Okoye have it out, and so again, like Wakandan receipts don't kid around because like they will do in front of everyone. But like, I remember I was first initially like a little upset with Ramona because I'm like, but what would you expect Okoye to have done in that moment? If let's say she had turned on the nation, but like, what if she had to go up against all the Melanges or whatever and so on? Like, I understand it was not an easy situation, but it was still a conversation that was very much worth having. But yeah, like it's. Can I talk about how I feel about her death?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm doing each individual character. We're not doing it as the movie was doing it.
Okay, cool. Because we were talking, me and Shane saw we were talking on and it was Multiverse last week, and like we only really had one problem, and that was her death. I think this was the one thing that I feel, because it was like, picture like this: we're all emotionally charged already going to this film. We've been mourning Chadwick since he passed almost 2 years ago, and so we go into this film instantly. We deal with his death and everything, and then which is already putting a lot on other audience members. But then at the same time, killing her off in order for Shuri to progress, because the thing was like, because it was to get Shuri to get towards the darker side, but she was already there. You didn't need to kill her. And if I say now, Shuri has no one.
Right.
Chaka's dead. T'Challa's dead. Ramonda is dead. Now, if this is one of those things where like Angela Bassett felt like she wanted to be like, this is my last film with the MCU. Let me go out with a bang and so on. I can respect that, but it's like otherwise, this is the one thing where I cannot fully support Ryan Coogler's vision, because overall, Ryan Coogler is one of the best vision tellers of the MCU of all time. Like, give him Avengers Secret Wars, give him anything he wants to do, Kevin Feige. But this was the one thing that I'm like, this is cruel. This was cruel to us because we're already going through a lot with this film.
Okay, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but can I throw out something and see how we would have gotten there without this happening? So one of the other characters in the movie that gets quite a good story but could have gotten a lot more because I just love him on screen is M'Baku. Winston is great in this role. I think they needed him to take the rise that he took, and that couldn't have happened with Queen Ramonda still alive. His storyline needed her to die. Yeah. That was the only way that would have happened. And that's the only way Shuri would have walked away from what she walked away from. So as much as it sucked that happened, I feel like that was important for M'Baku's story. because
No, I can understand that.
yeah, I get what you're saying from the emotional side of it. Yes, absolutely 100% agree with you there. I just feel like they wanted to give M'Baku something with a lot more agency, and they were like, this is the only way that we can get to this point because of the whole, the Jabari, and then her not being, and then Shuri not wanting to take over the mantle. It was just, they had a lot to do in this movie. And I don't think I actually think that it's possible that Queen Ramonda's death was supposed to happen in the movie, even if Chadwick were still with us. Like, I think that was probably something they had decided anyway, and they just kept it in, just to continue that in the story. But also supporting character M'Baku. What did you guys think of him? I thought he was great in this movie. Winston,
yeah,
obviously giving off like sexiest man of the year vibes in this movie. Is like, everyone was like that in the theater. It was like a thirst trap every time he was on screen.
Yeah. Just to backtrack just a quick second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Angela Bassett, Andy, she did not agree with that initially. That was all Ryan Coogler.
Oh, okay.
It was his vision that happens to push Shuri, further over the edge, just to make it make sense because of the because of course it's all an adaptation. Of course they the way they went about, getting her to that rage-filled moment was it was a liberty choice. But in the end, she, Angela Bassett initially, she agreed to it. I'm sure in Black Panther 3, she'll be back. We'll see her in the ancestral plane. But when it comes to M'Baku and Winston Duke, I could have used more of him.
I agree.
I could have used more of him simply because, one, this is literally a variant take on Man-Ape from the comics. Man-Ape is a villain. Mm-hmm. Of course, they aren't going to do that. We know. Because
please don't. Please keep him.
If you call a black man.
Oh, you mean the name? TV? I just don't even want him to be a villain. Like, don't give him the name and don't make him a villain. Like,
they're not going to make him a villain. They're taking this the route that I thought he was an antagonist in the first place. Yeah. The whole tribe of the
Jabari, a mild antagonist. Though,
yeah, the whole tribe of the tribe of the Jabari is something made up for this universe, for the MCU. Jabari, that's a made up thing. They did it on purpose. That way, it just wouldn't seem like, oh, this dude is coming out the mountains just to beat up the child.
Dressed as Man-Ape.
Dressed as Man-Ape. It was a lot of people saying that. He's gonna become the next Black Panther. Why would he serves the god Hanuman or however you pronounce it? He doesn't serve Bast. He serves Hanuman. So I'm like, okay. Give us more of that. You could have went into that a little bit, but
if anything, they could give him powers through his god, similar to the way that they get powers from Black Panther, and maybe make him like super strong.
I will say, since the Jabari are, they're vegetarians, vibranium it flows through the soil. He has showed augmented strength.
Yes, that's true.
Instances. So I would say he does have.
Yeah.
A little bit of power. Like in the first one, he picked that one dude up like with ease and just held him there. But
I mean, he could just be buff. Like he could just be a strong dude. Like I'm just, he's thick and strong. Yeah. So I mean, like,
So it's like I get like his like certain lines that he said were callbacks to the first film. Like at the funeral of Queen Ramonda, he talks about he's talking to Shuri, and that was a real tender moment that I loved. I'm like, okay, this is a side of M'Baku that we have never seen before.
Right.
And when Shuri said something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm just," or a child that just, that monitors all the technological advancements or whatever, the line he said at the very start of the first movie, there was a callback to that, and he says, "After all you've been through, nobody can call you a child." That hit me. I'm like, okay, he did a lot of maturing since the blip. He did a lot of maturing because he knew this is still his country. He fought for his country in Infinity War. Him and T'Challa, they may not have been best friends, but they respected each other. They respected each other. They became allies. He could have let T'Challa die.
He's a friend from work.
He's a friend from work. Yeah. He could have let T'Challa die. So in that instance, I wanted more.
Right.
To see him at T'Challa's funeral, that was big for me. To see him standing with the family, that was big for me.
Well, the other thing is, I think he's going to get a much bigger role in the third film. So
I always said he is the next best choice to be king of Wakanda. I think he can rule it because he's been ruling his own people. They respect him. He hasn't been. They haven't tried to overthrow him, and I think Wakanda as a whole respects him even more because he opened up his borders.
I was also going to say, in the meetings they were having, like how to handle, Talokan and Namor, he was the one that was making the best decisions. Like if you watch him in the meeting, everything he said was the smartest military decision he could make, and I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
And all right, we've got a demon.
Right,
you bald-headed demon.
we got a Team Airrick member chat and a super chat. The Team Airrick member chat is from Flash Freak. What's up? Yep, the stream got wild. We're talking about the stream we were on last night. It was fun though. My Twitch didn't get deleted, so that's good. I didn't put it up for playback though. Okay, that makes sense. We have a super chat here from Cody, who says $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Cody. I love the parallel between Shuri and T'Challa's arcs. Yeah, that was also very smart. Ryan Coogler is very good. Andy, would you expect anything less from him? I mean, he's a very smart director, and
he is one of my favorite filmmakers of the MCU. And again, I give him Avengers: Secret Wars, and because I think it would be so much fun to see what he would do with all of those characters, and also it would be nice if if both these next two Avengers films end up being directed by men of color, because I think the white dudes, there's been a lot of them that got to do the Avengers movies. So no disrespect to the Russo brothers. The first director, however, disrespect to him greatly. But no, I this is why I want to see what that Wakanda show that he's working on is going to look like. I want to see what other characters he could tackle and like his franchises. Like, I don't know, maybe he's the one who brings in Miles Morales, or maybe he does a Namor movie or something like that. But hopefully he will. God bless us all if he will do some more projects with M'Baku, because listen, I mean, you all may have seen that I was smiling every time you all talk about M'Baku and just him being fake or whatever. So I'm just like, listen, that's husband goals right there. I love M'Baku so much, and I just,
honestly, that character from the comics wasn't very popular, and Winston Duke has turned him into one of the most popular supporting characters in the MCU. So
I remember from the Avengers cartoon. From the Avengers cartoon, like I hated him because he's just like, you're just this big brute, and you're just about to. They're coming here to help T'Challa. You're just about to beat up all the Avengers. All right.
What an idiot. So Kata here has a very good comment to lead us into one of the characters I want to talk about next, which is Namor or Namor. They said it both ways in the movie, but the traditional pronunciation is explained in the movie as a language situation, with Amor being connected to no love, no Amor, Namor, which I thought was a very cool way to sort of tie in it. So M'Baku did get hit dirty, but let me tell you right now,
it made sense.
Namor, he would like in or around water. I would not want to mess with this dude. Like, he is fast and he's very strong. Like, I would be so. I don't want to get his name pronounced wrong, but Tanoch Huerta, right? That's how you pronounce his last name.
Tanoch Huerta. Huerta. I know it's Huerta.
We'll go with that. If I'm mastering it, I apologize because I love him. He was great. He was amazing in this role. I know a lot of people wanted to see a quote unquote comic book accurate Namor. The only thing different in this version and the version from the comics is the heritage of the character. Every other element of Namor was there. He was cocky. He was an asshole when he needed to be. He was regal when he needed to be. And he was extremely powerful.
And extremely charismatic.
And he cared for his people more than anything else, which is definitely Namor from the comics. So for me...
He was a mutant too, so,
ticked off all the boxes for me. I totally liked the dive into a much more... Earth type storyline opposed to Atlantis, because to be honest, it would have been really bad, I think, for Marvel to try and sort of just copy what DC did with Aquaman, which is one of their more popular characters. Matter of fact, I'm wearing Aquaman now. One of their more popular characters. The movie did really well, and Jason Momoa is a very recognizable actor in that role. It would have been wrong, I think, for them to try and copy this futuristic society that's very similar to Atlantis. They did the right thing by going in a different direction, and I'll stand by that. Even though I love Namor, I do like this sort of like variant take on the character and the storyline. And I do like that underwater, it felt more real. I love Aquaman. Aquaman is one of my favorite DC films. But this one, it actually felt like people swimming underwater. Like in that one, it was a little bit more stylized. I liked that it felt a bit more real here. And I'm sure we'll get to see more of these later on. I'm going on and on about this. I need to give you guys a chance to talk. I love Namor. I thought he was great, and I want to see him in more stuff. And I also loved Atuma and with Namora and just this entire storyline. So enough. Go ahead. What do you got to say about it?
With Atuma, you know me, I'm a comic head all day. I wanted to see. This may be a hot take, but you know how Atuma is in the comics, Eric. You know what Atuma does. You know Atuma does not respect Namor because of his double heritage.
Right.
But I mean, they did to Atuma what they did to M'Baku. They made him more loyal to his, respective, country or what have you. So that's cool. I could have seen more from Namora. Do we know if Namora in this continuity is Namor's cousin?
I don't think they explained that at all.
Because I mean, we know they are.
Did he call her cousin in the movie? I don't think he did.
No, I don't even think that they called.
He did call her by her name, so we know that's who she is for sure.
Yeah,
and then the cast obviously, but I don't know if they talked about that in the film.
Because how did she get her name?
As far as I remember, I don't know where I read it. I don't know if it was a press listing or whatever. And so, but as far as I know, I think the canon, she is his cousin, but I just don't think there was never a line that specifically says that.
Right.
But that's all. That's all I know. Unless I was wrong.
Yeah. I think they kind of explained this in the movie. They were altered by eating the underwater vibranium infused herb, and so when they went into the water, they look normal because that is their new normal habitat. When they come out of the water, they're changed because of that. At least is that right? That's what I took.
That's right. That's why they have the little breathing apparatuses. That's another thing that I liked because the Atlanteans in DC they're just walking in and out of water, all willy-nilly. Ryan Coogler, Kevin Feige, my hat's off to y'all because when you say you want to make something different and you make it great at the same time, they definitely did. I loved seeing Talokan. I said it on Monday in my stream. Just seeing this world inspired by Mesoamerican heritage, the Aztec heritage, just seeing that world. It wasn't futuristic, but it wasn't dated.
Right.
Like the underwater cave.
Their technology was basically like underwater technology, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, and how they travel using the currents. I like the way that they swim. They made that different than Aquaman, the Atlanteans, they swim regular. Here, the Talokanians or Talakon, however they said it.
I think it's Talanaki, I think is the way they pronounce it, right?
Oh, but they swim like whales, and I thought that was cool. And then they have sirens, like they really are mermaids.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that. The siren song stuff. Is that from the? I don't remember that from the comics. Is that just from the movie?
That's just for
scary as hell.
That's just for the movie. I don't remember Namor having his people do any of that.
Yeah,
and I did a deep dive to just refresh my memory on Namor and his version of Atlantis. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. What did you think of Namor and his underwater people? Did you like it, Andy, or no?
Are you asking me? I need to make this perfectly clear. You're asking me if I liked seeing a gorgeous, six-packed, brown-skinned man with those cute little wings and being completely shirtless with his little spear, his massive spear, being a complete badass. Yes,
Okay.
I did love that. I did love that. because I was watching with one of my friends. I think I turned him at least 3 times and pulled some really bad dirty water jokes. He's just like, Andy, it's a movie. Get on with it. Um, like for example, like when he hit Mbaku, and like I turned to him and like I was like, hey, he can hit me that hard in the water if he wants. He's like, Andy, there are kids around. If one of them hears you, and their parents are gonna kill you. So no, I love it because I've never really read anything with Namor in the comics. Like I think it's some in one animated show somewhere, but like I didn't know what to expect. I just knew that it was like I loved that they were updating his heritage and his background, and I love the idea that they would also try and make this as different as possible from Aquaman and Atlantis, because this could have easily been like, oh, it's just Marvel's Aquaman, but like this is very, very different, and I appreciate that. So I wish we could have spent a little more time establishing the bond he had with his people and so on.
Yes, I do agree with that.
But if we think about it as a TV show, this was a good backdoor pilot for what a Namor project could look like. You know, we know there's a conflict now between him and his people because of what happened at the end of the film, and we also now have a foundation for where you can believably follow this man, but also question some of the things he does. Because if he had been the one that killed T'Challa, this would have been game over. No one would ever like this character ever again.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. 100%.
So yeah, I enjoy. Again, I want to learn more now about like this kind of culture, because I don't. And the thing, I love the fact that this, because people are talking about like, is this better than the first Black Panther? It's so impossible to compare the two, because I feel like it's not just two different sequels, it's almost two different franchises. And I love the fact that we got as much new stuff in this film, like new concepts, new ideas, and that Talokan was like, you guys were talking about, like it looked a little dated, but it's like it's still an advanced society. It's just not advanced in a way where they don't have like floating ships and holographs and the beads or whatever. So
their technology felt more like organic technology opposed to like Wakandan technology, which is definitely advanced. And it was really interesting because Wakanda, even as technologically advanced as they were, still struggled against this organic technology because they didn't know how to fight it. Like, how do you fight water? Like, it was really tough. That whole situation. But I do want to say, go ahead, Lance.
I have so we know that he knows he is a mutant, but the way I took it is he thinks from his definition, he thinks he is a mutate because he doesn't know about the X gene.
Well, yeah, exactly. So that's the thing is right now the word mutant doesn't really mean anything.
It doesn't really mean mutant.
Mutant means exactly what it would mean to everyone else. It's a mutation of something.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what a mutant is. But it's not what a mutant is in the MCU or in the Marvel universe yet. We're getting there, but it's just not there yet. So when he mentioned in the movie, when he said I was a mutant or whatever, I thought, oh, they don't mean like mutant, like Marvel.
He's just a mutated.
Yeah.
I think he mutated because of
right.
And another thing is basically his real name isn't Namor. That's just what people that fear him call him.
Yeah, he had many names.
Yeah, he had many names. I love the cool Khan. I love that.
Yeah.
And will his wing grow back? Because
in the comics it does.
I was so concerned. I was like, no!
Did you see his face?
Yeah.
When she did that, I said he was in disbelief. Like he said, wait.
So in the water, he has a healing factor. So he will heal in the water, but his wings in the comics, at least in most iterations of the character, are literally his weak spot. If you clip the wings on his ankles, he gets he's very underpowered. And he has to heal for like a while after something like that happens. So yeah, it's sort of like an Achilles heel, like literally, but it's on his ankles. So that was very comic book accurate when she did that, which by the way, let's go ahead and jump into that and then we'll talk about some of the other characters. So, after figuring out how to face off against him and beat him with a dehydrating device, we get a battle on the beach after, Wakanda is facing off against Talokan in the middle of the water on this big Wakandan boat. But they get Shuri versus Namor on the beach. And it was very interesting because, yes, he was weaker, but he's still a more seasoned fighter than Shuri.
Yeah.
So she had to use her intelligence outside of just fighting to figure out a way to defeat him. And I thought that was really cool. What did you think overall of this fight? Do you think it should have been more vicious? Like, should Namor have been like more over the top, more like deathly to Shuri, or do you think it was done well in the scene?
I think it was done well, but another thing that I thought about is no matter what, the dude bros would have been upset.
What do you mean? Like give me your 2 examples of that.
Well, because in the source material, when this battle happened, literally in the exact same spot, kind of, sort of, Shuri, she was rejected by Bast. At this point in time, T'Challa was in the coma because, well, Namor
Right.
knocked him out. So she went to see Bast. Bast rejected her, but she did everything skillfully. Like, she got past everything to try to get to the heart-shaped herb. She was rejected, so she didn't get powers. She fought Namor as a regular human and still won.
Right.
Even in this, they didn't show her as a skilled fighter. They just gave her enhancements. So either way it went, people would have still been upset. Right. I think they chose the smarter option and didn't show her as a seasoned fighter because, honestly, yes, she threw a few punches and kicks. She was using her claws, which I honestly think are longer and sharper than T'Challa's.
Right.
Scratched him in the face, dug into his shoulder. She used her brains because she knew she couldn't beat him physically. Right. He's a brute fighter. Like, the one punch he tried to take at her and she did the cartwheel to dodge, and you just saw his back muscles just rippling. I'm like, oh, you're literally trying to tear her head off.
Right.
He didn't hold back. And that's the Namor we know from the comic. Right. He wasn't gonna hold back. This fight was a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
The man was gasping for breath.
Yeah.
Half the time, but it was a 10 out of 10 for me.
Speaking of Shuri with powers, we got a couple super chats. I'll get to them in just a second. But speaking of Shuri with powers, did you like who she saw in the ancestral realm when she finally got the 3D printer to make the heart shape?
Did you see my video on that?
I did, but I want to hear you talk about it over here. So
yes, I loved it because it is a huge Easter egg to a run in the comics. Killmonger, when he tried to take the heart-shaped herb, in the comics, it almost killed him. Mm-hmm. So he made the synthetic, the artificial heart-shaped herb to give himself powers. He made it because, well, he wanted to take out T'Challa. He made it himself. By her seeing him in the ancestral plane, one, she already stated she wanted to see the world burn.
Right.
So she was already in that horrible mindset because she didn't grieve properly. She doesn't believe in that. So, of course, she's not going to be accepted by Bast right away anyway.
And they wanted to make it very clear that she's not a copy of T'Challa.
Exactly. She's not a copy at all. Yes, when T'Challa's father died, he was vengeful towards Bucky. Yes, in that instance, they were.
Oh yeah,
they were neck and neck. They were neck and neck. But he learned he forgave long before she would have.
Right.
So by her seeing him, it's like, okay, yeah, you're gonna see me because you don't believe in this stuff in the first place.
Right.
You don't care about it. You made an artificial herb yourself just so you can get revenge. Like, and that's basically, to me, that showed like, oh, it's basically the Panther God. The Panther God basically wouldn't have any ties to an artificial herb anyway.
So it's already like
okay, yeah. So one, they had Bast reject her without having the actual rejection, because she wasn't chosen, because she was arrogant. She believed in the science over everything. It's crazy how much thought that Ryan Coogler put into these scenes. Like, people want to talk trash about this film. Go read some sources.
We're going to get into that at the very end, so don't worry. We'll get into that. Andy, Killmonger, are you a fan of Killmonger?
He liked the pajama outfit.
I'm waiting for that. So I know the body markings and everything. Are you a fan of Killmonger? I'm just curious.
I wanted him to punish me in the first
one. I knew that was coming.
Listen, listen. The Black Panther franchise, it brings out the thirstiest sides of me. Like again, the bad water jokes that I did. M'Baku, like again, like I would be like, M'Baku, whatever.
Oh no.
But yeah,
And
like
Baku forever.
yeah, of course, yeah. Like listen, he's a vegetarian like myself. He's beautiful, not like myself because I'm not. He is a king, which I'm not. But I will happily be his queen, king, whatever he needs me to be. I will follow him to the end of time, and I will happily let Namor punish me. And like like listen,
So,
if he
so
wants,
you're letting them know that you are available is basically what you're saying.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Which
And
kingdom? You're like, take me to Wakanda, take me to Talokan, whichever
Oh,
place.
I guess you will have to fight over the little me, tear me apart. Okay, so I had been told like a long time ago that Michael B. Jordan was in this, but I asked specifically because I almost by the time the fears about who was gonna be the new Black Panther, I started kind of like almost being like, oh, this must be like he's gonna have to somehow like show up to her, but not as like the Killmonger.
Right.
So when he showed up, but like it was like I looked around, like a lot of people were just gasping, but
Because you see him from the back in the beginning, and you're like, "Who is that?" And then as she walks around, you notice that it's Killmonger, and I'm like, "Oh,
yeah." It was again because I just love the Wakandan set so much, like everything they do with the ancestral plane and all those things, like. This movie stands out so much from Marvel, and this is the thing. This didn't feel like a typical MCU movie. Like we weren't
No.
surrounded a bunch of Easter eggs or like Avengers this, Avengers that. I mean, the only like MCU time that they really did, and I don't really know why the hell she was in this was Val,
right."
but I think Killmonger, having a if I could put in a word dictionary the definition of a meaningful cameo, you can just insert this because this was like this sort of point. This wasn't just fan service, and it didn't undo what they happened in the first film. And again, he can punish me anytime he wants.
So we got a couple super chats before we pull up this one from Amethyst. Let's go ahead and talk about the mid-credit scene. And this one I thought was interesting because we see Shuri going to Haiti. That was Haiti, right? Correct, where the school was with Nakia, right? Isn't it Haiti? Isn't that where her school is?
I will look it up.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure it is.
It's in Haiti.
Okay, so
Haiti,
she goes there, and we find out. And the thing is, I thought it was so funny, Lance, because I heard like 5 women yell this out in the theater. When Nakia walked out, she goes, "I got something to tell you," because she's talking to Shuri, because Shuri is there, giving her respects to her mother there, and she brings out a little kid, and the women were like, "I told you, I knew it." Like they knew right away that she was pregnant with T'Challa's child. And so we bring T'Challa Jr. basically onto the screen. So how old would you say that he is at this point? Because he looked to be like maybe 9 or 10 years old to me.
6 or 7. If he was born, if she was pregnant before the invasion, she had him during the blip, which was about 5 years, and we skip ahead a year.
Okay, so you're thinking like 6 or 7 years old.
He's 6 or 7.
Okay. So they introduce a new T'Challa, which tells me that this is where they plan to take the next Black Panther whenever the Shuri storyline wraps up. At least that's how I feel, because of the fact that I don't think at this point with Shuri as Black Panther, they're going to introduce a variant T'Challa that will quote unquote take over. Yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I wouldn't say a variant T'Challa that will take over. I always was under the impression that we will see a variant T'Challa come in like Secret Wars or Kang Dynasty, just to see like from another Earth, but not stay.
Yeah. We could do that. Yes, I agree with that.
Or Kang uses his time travel, yada yada yada, and brings in a older version of Toussaint, T'Challa Jr., who is ruling Wakanda in his timeline. And he comes over, and we have, Kang tells his lies or whatever, and we get Toussaint versus Auntie Shuri as Black Panther, because I honestly feel as if Shuri's reign as Black Panther will go for the next couple films.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I mean, there. I highly doubt the MCU is going to do another 5-year time jump, especially right now. We just had a massive time jump.
Right.
We're cycling in all these different characters. I highly doubt. I mean, some people are under the impression that by the time Black Panther 3 comes out, Toussaint's going to be like 20.
No,
I'm like, why
I would be
y'all think
shocked.
that?
I would be
Right.
shocked if a grown-up T'Challa from this Earth, because I don't like the way that the MCU has defined multiverse as it's alternate
Multiverse / time travel is all
yeah,
one thing.
like, it's like multi lines. But no, I think we will see a grown up T'Challa Junior from this Earth at some point, and I think he and Shuri will maybe be Black Panthers together.
That's what I think too. I think.
Although, can I be really
go
cheesy for a second? This is a essay from one of my friends.
Yeah.
I thought for a second, as another way to do back to throw back to Killmonger, was that either little T'Challa Junior or grown up T'Challa in the future will show, and he sees Shuri, he's gonna go like, "Sup, Auntie," like in the verse one.
And another thing.
What are those?
Yeah.
What are those?
And another thing. What you just brought up Killmonger again. Did you peep that she indeed did pick up T'Challa's a female version of T'Challa's helmet?
Yes.
But she put it down in favor of Killmonger's color.
Yes, with the gold. Yep.
Yeah. But and another thing is how everybody was trying to say that he's the rightful heir to the throne. Well, nobody knows who this boy is except for Shuri. Shuri's not going to say anything. The only other person that knew, the only other 3 people, one's alive,
and T'Challa.
Ramonda knew and T'Challa knew. They're both with the ancestors, and Nakia's barely in Wakanda. I don't think that.
Well, I mean, her leaving Wakanda, I don't think she's going to tell anybody. That was the whole point
she's
of her
not.
leaving. So.
So I'm like, we don't have
By the way,
worry about
she had a great storyline in the movie. It wasn't
Yeah.
a very big storyline, but it was fun. She got to do her spying stuff and go in and save Shuri. So I thought that was really cool. I liked her suit. I thought her suit was really cool too. So shout out to her.
Did you know Did you know she was born in Mexico?
Mm-mm.
That was like hearing her. First of all, her Spanish is muy caliente.
Yeah.
I was shocked, and then I found out, you were born in Mexico. Makes it like she was so happy to be able to share both sides of her.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. So Amethyst here has a super chat. It's $4.99 super chat. Do you think they will introduce Storm to be with T'Challa's son as a couple to have her child?
No, because the way they would have to do it is because the X-Men are on their way. At this point, I'm almost saying this is a theory, and it's not spilling any tea because I don't want to get shot at by moral snipers. I think Phase 7 is where we're going to start with the X-Men, and if they're in present time, Storm would already be older than T'Challa. So because the only way to make that couple work is if she's born like 20 years from now or something like that. And I don't think they're going to do that. And I also think Kevin Feige is also aware that I think this would rub the wrong people the wrong way, because yes, even though it is a T'Challa and Storm that would be the ship, it's not the T'Challa, and I think it's like you only wanted to make it happen just because we can get as close to the comic. It's like it's not a trophy you all need. So like I think that if Storm, whenever we do see Storm, whether it is Javish Leslie, I'm sure Lance is praying to the gods it will be, but
Javish. If she's not with him, cool. Yeah.
No. You're probably praying that Javish is going to be Storm in the MCU.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
of course. I am.
Paige asked here about the history of Mesoamerica. From what I understand, Ryan wanted to use actual history to mix with the fiction.
The whole smallpox thing it's accurate. It's very accurate.
So I think what it is it is a combination of real events like made to fit within the MCU. Oh, we had another super chat here. Oh, we do. Victor, the $5 super chat. Do you see Namor appearing in any other Marvel movies or TV series in the future, or have his own movie or TV show? I don't know which one of those he's getting, but I will take any or all of them, please, because I think he's a great character. I think he did not feel underutilized in this film. Like, I think he felt perfect, and we got the flashbacks, we got his backstory, all of that's taken care of. The only thing, like I don't remember if it was Lance or Andy that said this, but I would love to see more of his people and his culture. And you could easily do that in a TV series. But I would say it would be probably very expensive to film a TV series based on an underwater civilization. So I think it would probably have to be a movie or a mini series or something like that. Yeah.
MCU special, like World War by Night.
Yes, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'd be down for that one.
Yeah. Here we go. This is the other comment that I want to talk about. How are you defining mutants and mutates? Well, I'm not defining them. Basically, the easy way to explain this from the comics is a mutant, their powers emerge on their own during puberty, the majority of the time. Sometimes it's a little bit earlier, sometimes it's a little bit later, but typically during your puberty is when your powers naturally emerge. A mutate is someone who has the X gene, but it doesn't actually emerge during their teens, and it's forced out of them through some kind of process, whether it be, if you watch the first Daredevil, you watch the first Deadpool, you see how they forced their X gene to emerge, because Deadpool is a mutate. He hangs with the mutants because mutants and mutates are similar. It's just one got their powers naturally, the other ones had to be subjected to some form of or process to make their powers emerge. That's the difference between a mutant and mutate.
I mean, as far as I know, in this, in the MCU, like they're treating him as like just a mutant, from what I know. So it's like I didn't really know there was much of a difference with mutates. But yeah, it's just refreshing that they're finding ways to introduce the mutants to the MCU, but it's not the ones we would expect, and it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Like because by the time we got to Dark Phoenix, I was kind of burned out on all that kind of stuff. I'm like, when Kevin Feige, got the rights back, I'm like, but Kev, we can just wait, just focus on something else right now. So the fact we have Kamala and we have Namor, it's refreshing because this wasn't how I expected them to do mutants initially in the MCU. Like I thought, like it was for sure going to be, like we're going to see like some hulking creature with long hair and someone going bub and just like and then the rest of the X-Men would just show up.
Kata, too bad Wakabi wasn't Wakanda Forever. He was banished. They told him to get out.
Wow.
That was pretty hilarious. All right, let's talk about the story that I think was probably the weakest part of the movie, and that was the stuff with Everett Ross and Valentina and all of that. It wasn't that it wasn't good. It just felt so jarring.
Out of place.
Yeah. That was like the setup for whatever. That was the one storyline that felt like it was setting up something with Marvel moving forward. Then you had the stuff with Riri. By the way, Dominique Thorne was great in this movie. I'm very excited for the Riri TV show, the Ironheart TV show. I thought she was a breath of fresh air. She had really good chemistry with all the people in Wakanda. I really enjoyed it. But I would say the Everett Ross storyline was very weak. I would be okay with him not being a big part of the third film. Not because I don't like him. Martin Freeman is amazing as an actor. I just don't think we need him to be in every Black Panther movie.
Well, you should be happy because the next thing that he is in is technically Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
Okay. This whole,
but that feels more like a fit for his character.
Yeah,
so
he's
I'm
in
happy
there.
about
So
that.
I guess he's hiding out still.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll disperse him from the Black Panther films.
I hope so because I think the movie flows better if you don't have to keep jumping away for that.
You know who else I don't want to see for a while?
Who?
Valentina Constantine. Deneen, whatever.
Well, she's going to keep popping up until the Thunderbolts movie.
I know, but I just felt like she was forced in this film.
Yeah,
in this film, she's definitely forced.
Captain America, because like the Captain America film and the Thunderbolts film, I think that's going to be the Vibranium War. Mm-hmm. Those two, the Vibranium War against Wakanda. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But I said this last Friday, and I will say it again. And this might offend some people, but we obviously know why Roz and Val was in the film because, God forbid we have any superhero movies that has 0% white people.
No.
Yeah.
We gotta give the white folks some representation as well.
And I think also Feige wants that connectivity. Like he wants it to connect to everything else, and he was like, I want it to. And Everett Ross was a big part of the first movie. So they're like, we need to make sure he's there. Look, I'm giving them permission. You don't have to use him in the third film. I'm good with just, moving
I
on
would have been
from
fine
that.
if it was just him in the film because of his tie, but like I'm like with Val, like you could have first of all, the fact that they were married, I gagged. I'm like, are you freaking kidding
The
me?
sexual innuendo jokes she kept throwing out just felt out of place.
Yeah, like
I want to come
Juliet's a
ride
great
your
actress.
Peloton. What?
She's a great actress, but
She
like
is.
I don't know
I
if Valentina needs to be this comedic.
well, I also don't think that she was. I don't think that fit with the tone of this movie. It
It
was just
didn't.
it was out of the tone of the movie. Like all the stuff Riri was doing, because she was kind of the comic relief a little bit with her storyline. You know that, and then of course the stuff with Okoye, which was hilarious when they were in the dorm room. That was
like
so funny.
The hair
But-
thing is just
yeah,
Oh.
that I love that callback to the first film because she hated the wig. So doing the makeup and
Yeah.
it's still not working was hilarious.
yeah. Overall, I think that's pretty much. I'm looking over here at my notes. I can't think of any other major storylines. There's a couple of smaller ones. I want to talk about the controversy about it not getting released in certain territories, and that is to do with the stuff between, I believe, Anika and Okoye. Right? Is that what we're?
Anika and Ayo.
Ayo, yeah, about the two of them together. So I love Ayo, by the way. Seeing her again because
And
she's
now she's the general.
yeah, I love her. So good. I think Florence. What's the actress's name? Florence.
Florence Kasumba.
Kasuma. Yeah, very good. Very very good. I love seeing them together. What do you think about the controversy about them banning the movie over a forehead kiss? Basically, like that's essentially what they're not allowing the movie in for. Is you think that's real? Or you think that's fake?
Homophobia? I know her. I love
Yeah.
her. Stand
That's what
her.
I'm saying. Like it's weird though because
Don't.
I mean even that is such an innocuous. Like it's just a very tiny form of affection, and they don't even want. They're so triggered by that. They're like, we're not even going to put it out, you know, over here. And I have to say, I'm giving Marvel credit because they could have removed that from the movie just to get it released in China, and they didn't do it. So I'm gonna give them a little bit of credit for that. A little bit. Thoughts on this?
Just a little bit. It's just a forehead kiss. It's not that serious.
It just goes to show how triggered they are, though, right? I mean,
Like, come on, like didn't
What a
Shuri kiss her
sinner.
mom in this film?
yeah, but here's the thing. I've also read, because I did a deep dive on this, and I read that part of the problem is that China doesn't want foreign films as much anymore. They want to try and push a lot of their local filmmakers, which I mean, I can't be mad at them for doing that. I mean, that's their own prerogative and giving people that opportunity, but they're blocking out a lot of big movies. Like I don't think Marvel's had any movie release in phase 4 in China. And I think DC's had trouble as well. So the only thing I'm thinking about with that is that might prevent them from breaking $1 billion, but I hope not, because the movie did so well domestically last time, the first Black Panther, that I'm hoping everybody shows up domestically for this one and really pushes the sales of the movie forward. And that's pretty much it in terms of the movie. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to mention or talk about before we give our final thoughts and kind of wrap things up?
I suddenly loved water more after seeing this film. No, but listen, this was. I cannot imagine the creative challenge of having to craft this story under these circumstances, because it was not only did they have to deal with Chadwick's passing, but also the pandemic, and also cast members and crew members also grieving through all this. It was. I cannot imagine a harder task in the MCU than this. So for me, I gave this movie a 9 point out of 5. The only reason it doesn't get a 10 is because I don't necessarily agree with the Ramonda death that much. But either way, this is like, other than No Way Home, and then in this film, I don't care for any other MCU Phase 4 film. Like these are Black Panther Wakanda, it wrapped up what has been a very struggling phase, but in a very powerful way. So I can't wait when it comes out on Blu-ray and on streaming, and this is and I'm hoping I want to get back to Wakanda as soon as possible. There's just something very comforting about.
We're supposed to have that TV show coming soon, so I'm hoping that.
Yeah, I was surprised that we didn't hear, because I figured that with all these great numbers that Disney would have this week started pushing it out in the press of we're greenlighting this, we're going forward this, because I really don't know what show they're doing with this.
Right,
I'm is it gonna be Midnight Angel, which again, oh my god, Okoye having all this commentary on the makeup, the clothing, and then as soon as they, it's so ugly. I think it needs to be like tweaked a little, but like maybe a Midnight Angel show or
Maybe.
a Dora Milaje show or
I
something.
I will say though, the one thing that kind of bugged me about that, because I thought it was cool seeing them being able to fight toe to toe with like what do we decide what we're gonna call them? Are they? Is it Tolkien? What is
Talacoans,
Talakanians? Yeah, I don't want to get it wrong. Anyway, when they're fighting toe to toe with the people from underwater, they basically are undermining Riri's suit because those suits, I think, were not only more attractive than hers, but they seem to be better than hers, except for the fact that she could fly a lot further, I guess. So that was a bummer for me. I felt like she was a little bit underwhelmed because of that. Other than that, though, the suits are fine. And I believe they look like the comic book suits. So, everyone that is familiar with those characters have told me that they look like the suits. I haven't had a chance to read that storyline.
They do.
So, any thoughts from you at all, Lance, on any storylines, any extra stuff before we wrap it up?
I loved every aspect of this movie except for the the Everett Ross storyline, that whole thing. I get why it was there. I get that it somewhat ties into basically the world blaming Wakanda for everything. But other than that, I can't wait to see more of Riri in her own show. I hope everybody, shuts up about her wearing that the Mark II suit in this film. It's Wakandan tech. It's staying in Wakanda. Shuri most likely dismantled it anyway. But we're gonna see her in her regular suit. It might, she might, it might be the comic book accurate suit, one that's more not as bulky. But I'm glad Shuri's the Panther. I feel as if she deserved it. She and her fighting style will get better. She'll grow.
Talakaniel is the name of
Talakaniel. Yeah. She will grow as the Panther. I hope that in universe we see her growth as she deals with this grief, because she did suffer a lot of loss. Phase 4 just seems like it was a huge, just like a lot of commentary on grief. How many of our heroes lost so much this phase?
Well, because I think this phase had to deal with the ramifications of Endgame.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
So I think it was a great way to salute Chadwick and what he meant to all of them. Man, I can't wait for Black Panther 3, especially since it made so much money in the first day. I think Black Panther 3 is like guaranteed. Plus, they already say they're working on more Wakanda stories for Disney Plus. Okoye's supposed to have her show. Maybe now that we know she's not the general anymore, it'll be about her going undercover as as the Midnight Angel stuff.
Are you excited about that? I'm excited about that.
I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah.
So, and I hope Shuri sheds the gold and sheds the gold and black. I would love to see her more traditional suit that she wore,
right?
Like with the fur.
I think that maybe as she starts to accept the ancestral plane and all of that, she'll start to change the way she sees things.
I want to see a more traditional Black Panther suit, because I watched the definitive Chadwick Boseman performance for Black Panther, and it's Civil War, before his diagnosis, when he was like ripped, and that suit did not have to have a lot of CGI on it.
Right.
I want to go back to a simpler suit, and I think Shuri could.
My favorite Black Panther suit is the Civil War Black Panther suit.
Yeah,
hands down, my favorite one. Although I do like the kinetic energy suit, it's still like, I don't know. I kind of like that.
And she couldn't really, like, this suit had kinetic energy, but it's like she didn't want to even use that. Like, she was going for, she used it one time, but she wanted to go for blood herself. I'm like, disperse that energy. Like, he's beating you. Disperse it. But no, she didn't. No.
I definitely want her to get like a suit, like at least with the gold gone, and a color that it's more identifiable for her. Gold is very Killmonger's color. Purple was very much of the child color. I would love to see. I think the suit itself, because I think that works. I think just that the additional coloring should be something that is more identifiable with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing I want to say about Shuri is that
Mhm.
because I had issues with Letitia was going with Letitia and so on. But as far as like making her the new Black Panther, I think they did a really, really good job with it. And I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
because
That's
I
the same thing I
loved
said.
Shuri in the first movie. She was one of my favorite characters. So,
Yeah.
like but once I got into to the movie theater, I put my issues with actors outside the door. I went into the film and I just judged her storyline, and I think it was really, really good.
Mhm.
And I love the fact that her fighting style is so distinct. It's not perfect, but it's still
Right.
different enough from T'Challa's ways of doing it.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
So, all right. So I would say I went back to see this movie a second time. I think I'm going to settle somewhere between an 8 and 8.5. I think for the movie now that I've seen it a second time. The length of it didn't bother me. I felt like it went by perfect, and in terms of like its timing. I think it hit all the emotional moments. I think some people, especially if you're really emotionally invested in this, your score is going to be way higher because I think that's what the movie intended to do. And my hats off to Ryan and everyone. I also want to point out that this movie was an impossible ask, to be completely honest. There was no perfect way to make a follow-up to Black Panther after what happened with Chadwick Boseman.
I agree.
So hats off to all of them. I also think people have to remember, because a lot of people that are reviewing this movie that are being super hard on it, and I'm not saying to give the movie any kind of slack because of this, that, and the other, but I will say you have to understand that they were not only dealing with the death of a character, they were dealing with the death of someone they all knew and loved in real life and they worked with for years on these projects. So asking them to go into work and just pretend like that didn't happen while saying goodbye to an actual human being was too much. And I see a lot of that shit online, and those people just need to like chill because I'm so over it. I'm so overseeing it,
yeah,
honestly.
and I think what people I think for that side that is crapping on it and also going for like I'm still pro recast T'Challa. So again, it's like what Chadwick with Black Panther is historical. Like this, what Black Panther wasn't just any type of superhero movie. This was a cultural game changing thing for not just superhero movies, definitely for superhero movies for sure, but just for Black franchises in general, where we don't see a lot of them. This movie showed that people are gonna show up and go see movies led by Black people, and also that it's not even an African American movie. It is an African Marvel movie. It's
Yeah.
set in Wakanda mostly. So, it's not as simple to just, I understand why they can recast William Hurt's character. Oh my God, what is his name? Thunderbolt Ross. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that character is nothing groundbreaking. He is
Right.
just any other. No, and this is not just for William Hurt. May he rest in peace, 100%. But that character has done nothing for cinematic history. You can
Right.
recast him, but T'Challa, it is a way more sensitive subject. So,
Well, the other thing is that you're dealing with a lead character. And if you were to ask those same people, if someone like, God forbid, or whatever you believe in, Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth had actually died between films, they would not be saying this. They would not be saying this. 100% they would not be saying this. They'd be like, Chris Evans is my Captain America. Don't recast him. Respect his memory, blah, blah, blah. They would be saying the same thing.
They're already doing that.
Well, that's what I mean. And nothing even happened to him. That's my point. Like, they're so adamant to recast someone as culturally important as what Chadwick Boseman has done, so just ham-fistedly. But if that were to happen to it, like, they wouldn't even let Daredevil go. They wouldn't even let Charlie Cox go. So spare me the bullshit about recast T'Challa. Like, and then they always go, oh, well, he's such an important character. The MCU is full of things from the comics that don't even go in the fucking comics.
Yep.
Like, the Guardians of the Galaxy in the movies is vastly different from the comics, and they were actually more popular. So I'm over it. They don't care about this legacy. That's all bullshit. They know it. They just keep saying it anyway. I absolutely think it's fine for them to introduce another T'Challa, but we still had to say goodbye to Chadwick's T'Challa.
Yep.
Like, if you want to introduce another T'Challa from the multiverse, or have, his son grow up and be Black Panther, I'm totally good with that. But I think they had to say goodbye to Chadwick. It was really the only way to do this, because just to recast him and come into the movie like nothing happened. Like, really? Seriously? Yeah, I thought that was stupid. Anyway, now that I'm over my ranting, Kata here says, will Namor become an Avenger? I think when we get to the point where we're dealing with those double Avenger movies again, he's going to have to step up. There's no more hiding in the ocean. I think they're going to need him, honestly, because they need all the power they can get, and he's extremely powerful.
If people only knew that, like, you all thought that Thanos in the MCU was powerful, but it's so many comic book stories of basically Namor being in the Illuminati, and like the whole thing that we're about to get into with Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars and dealing with the incursions and all of that stuff. This man Namor commanded Thanos at one time, Thanos and the Black Order, to destroy worlds.
Mm-hmm.
He found a Thanos and a Black Order on another Earth and made them destroy other Earths just to protect his own. Like, it's so much stuff that they could do with Namor. Paige, you're hilarious. It's so much stuff that they could do with Namor, and they've already set him up to not be a nerfed version like they love to do with so many other characters. He's not holding back at all. Like, the only reason he agreed in this film to basically that he yielded to Shuri is because he knows Wakanda will come to them for help once the world turns on them. Yep. He didn't do it because he was scared. And I'm sure he wanted to get back to the water. But
I can guarantee you Namor is not scared of anybody.
Exactly.
If Hulk showed up at the edge of the ocean and wanted to challenge him, he would step right up. He wouldn't care. He'd be like, all right, let's go.
Like, the dude is covered it, and then they make it worse. He's covered in vibranium. Like, come on.
Yep. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this, but I do want to pull something up before we wrap this up because I just saw this Arrowverse treasure on Twitter.
Wait, is it the tweet from a certain oh my god.
Look at this right here.
Elon Musk.
I love that you have a blog. That's hilarious.
I honestly think like he's trolling.
I had him blocked well before he took over on Twitter.
If this is a big troll move, I feel so bad for anyone who has worked at that company.
He is a very rich person that doesn't seem to care about anybody's real life, and this is super trolly.
Like, he's trolling. Like, everybody's saying goodbye to Twitter, and I guarantee we're gonna wake up tomorrow morning, and it's gonna be just fine.
I don't know. There's been reports now that people outside of Twitter have said that they expect Twitter to go out overnight.
Well, I mean, hey, if it does,
I'm gonna check Twitter right.
Send me the links on Facebook.
Well, there was definitely lagging a second ago. I had to reload the page, and that tweet wouldn't even load for me. So,
oh my god, Chainsaw is going up. He's like posting like spoilers on Twitter, like Bruce Wayne is Batman, Clark Kent is Superman, the Flash is the Barry Allen is the Flash. Like, oh my god.
So it's interesting that he used the Arrowverse meme.
This man really killed Twitter in a day.
Arrowverse meme.
Could you imagine, like, if, like, because he posted this, the Flash ratings when he comes back, because he's like, what is this from? Like, it's from the Flash TV show. They're like,
you know that people talk about the Arrowverse not being iconic. You know you're iconic when Elon, who is about to tank Twitter, uses your meme as the last meme of Twitter being alive. That's
I will. If like I will imagine, like, if someone like catches Grant at like if from TMZ on whatever the airborne, like any response to you being used by Elon Musk on Twitter, he's like, he did what now? And like, because Grant is not on Twitter anymore, but I'm sure someone is calling him right now, being like, bro, you're on this timeline right now on Twitter.
Yeah.
So Discussing Film is pissed.
I know this. I know.
Wait. Why is Discussing Film pissed?
Like they're just mad in general because they just reported some page Unusual Whales talking about some like reporting that the public version of Twitter is reportedly at risk of breaking during the night. Like they're pissed.
Yeah, because I know.
So let me tell you this right now: casual users and people in the entertainment industry that are not reporters or that don't run any kind of news websites, Twitter breaking is an inconvenience. but Twitter breaking for things like the government and for reporters and for news outlets and websites, Twitter breaking is a massive problem.
Yeah.
So
can I, if I mean, I don't know how much longer we'll
do 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes. So.
Okay. I have, because I went over, because I've been running a podcasting network for 7 years. I've been podcasting for 10 years. And I went to look at all Twitter accounts that I've created over the years, and included them all, Twitter and so on. I raised 50,000 followers that I'm now about to lose. And because these are our biggest platforms. So like, my Twitter is my biggest platform, as a journalist. So like, yeah, I'm definitely pissed and it's definitely concerned. That's why I'm hoping that if Twitter goes down, it is just for, that it's not forever, and that they will find ways to restore it. So
and I believe no matter what happens, I think Twitter's going to have there'll be another version of Twitter that will pop up. It's just we don't know when that's going to happen.
Somebody said waiting on TikTok to make their own Twitter.
I will never. I mean, I have an account on Twitter, but on TikTok, but I don't use it.
I will say this: one of those outlets will try and create a micro blogging feature. Just get ready for it. Either YouTube's going to do it, Instagram's going to do it, or TikTok's going to do it. There will be some sort of micro blogging feature if Twitter goes down. I can guarantee you they already have people working on it right now. So just think, he almost brought Vine back. So
yeah, I remember I got verified on Vine like 2 weeks before they shut it down, and so I was like, oh, great.
Oh wow, Kirk Avacito.
Oh, what did he say?
He called Elon a bitch.
I love him so
I
much.
do too.
Like because he's so funny.
Well, anyway, we're gonna wrap this up.
This is funny.
Look. Lance's mate, the troll, will be lost without it.
He surely will. I had to ratio him earlier.
So just so you know, I am either DJ Airrick or Eric's Reloaded literally everywhere else. Like if you go to Instagram, that's what I am. If you go to TikTok, that's where I am. There's a Facebook page that I don't use, but I'm there. And you can always find me on YouTube, my community tab, and that way. So until Twitter comes back. I will actually put all my shit posting over on YouTube in the community tab, and that's where you'll find me if something happens. Anyway, we're out of here. Thank you so much, Lance, for joining me. Thank you, Andy, for being here as well.
Thank you.
Talking about Black Panther. I can't wait to see what's in store for this franchise moving forward and what we've got from the TV side, whatever they're going to do with that. So join me on, well, actually, Lance, we'll do this. When is your next stream going to be?
That I'll be on, it'll be the Monday after next.
Okay, so
it's only 3 Dubs. 3 Dubs is doing the hosting this week because I got to work.
Okay, all right. Andy, the Endless Multiverse is tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow. I'm losing track of my days.
So you can
join Andy and Chainsaw on Endless Multiverse tomorrow over on, I believe it's Chainsaw's channel that you guys stream on.
My YouTube is pretty much dead. I don't know what to do with it.
Head over and check those guys out. And we'll be the after party on Saturday. And trust me, if Twitter goes down, we'll have a lot to talk about on the after party. That's for sure.
Yeah, I may need to be in the chat just to have comfort. Jesus is verified on Twitter.
What?
Oh no, it's one of at Jesus on Twitter is verified, but then it said that it's like Twitter Blue verified.
So yes, I'm on Instagram quite often. I get lost in the Instagram scroll thing where you just kind of watch stuff after watch stuff.
Oh my god, so. I did 200 reels yesterday. And I was like, do the work.
Of course, I'm on Twitch, and if Twitter goes down, I may do a random live stream. So if that happens, expect me to be live somewhere, either here or over on Twitch. But that's pretty much it. We're out of here. I will see everyone on the after party on Saturday. So